Oh, welcome to episode 334 of Fergo on the Freak. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can find me on Twitter at AndrewRP. Joining me as always is the glorious League Freak. He can find bashing the living shit out of a door somewhere on Twitter at League Freak. How you going there, mate?
Bashing the shit out of a door. What door?
Yeah, mate. I realised today that the NRL's got a thing about people with doors. They think Matt Lodge, he just absolutely abused the door, and rugby league was there for him for rehabilitation purposes.
Yeah.
And that was where James Roberts went wrong, because he just gently just slid the door.
Yeah, he slid it open and he broke the seal.
That's right. Man. You never break the seal.
Never
Everyone
break the
knows that.
seal, ever.
Especially when it's cold weather outside, you don't do that.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's funny because they overturned all of that seal and the players and their families up in that hotel. And so if he had have done it now, he wouldn't have got fined. It would have been completely not a problem. But because he did it a couple of days ago, he gets fined $7,500 and banned for a game. And that just shows how ridiculous some of this shit is.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
Like, can you imagine if somebody's come to you, right, and they said, you got to stay in the hotel, and you're like, yeah, I get it. I get that. You can't go out. I understand that. And then they say, and we're just going to put some sticky tape on your door to make sure we know you didn't go out on your balcony. At that point, that's when I say, fuck everyone.
I'm opening this door.
Yeah, I would do it.
But that's a challenge, isn't it? The sticky tape on the door? That's a challenge.
Yeah. Like, I focus on what type of sticky tape. Where can I purchase some of this sticky tape? Do you reckon there's an underground network of sticky tape swapping going on amongst NRL players?
I don't know. I mean, it is in Queensland.
Yeah.
This is the thing that gets me. It was in a Brisbane hotel room, wasn't it? Or was it Gold Coast?
I think it's Gold Coast from memory.
Yeah. See, there's not much to do in Gold Coast other than smashing grabs. I mean, why would you even want to open your door? Just keep it shut and keep the criminals out.
Well, the only things that I know that you can do in the Gold Coast are cocaine and prostitutes. That's all the Gold Coast is known for, isn't it?
Well, that and smashing grabs at 7-Elevens.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty big. They're like those three are the top three things. I know they've got tourism stuff, but that's a long way down the list of things to do there.
Way down the list. I've been to the Gold Coast a few times, and the local activities aren't my sort of thing. Like, the main thing that I do is basically go to the area where all the food is and just eat.
Yeah, there's not much food there. There's plenty of nose candy, not much food.
Yeah. It's all like chain stuff. I'm probably the worst sort of, what do you call it, tourist, because, I will go and I'll be like, I might get myself some Oporto while I'm here. So, I'm not one of the people that go to the strip clubs and snort shitloads of cocaine or anything like that. It's not my deal.
Oh, you're missing out, mate.
Fine. I'm happy to miss out on all that stuff.
There you go. Yeah, look, we're going to do a long overdue episode of Ask Kenty. What do you reckon?
My body is ready. We're up to volume 9, which is crazy.
It's insane.
You know what? Last time we did this, Ben Eichen was hosting the show. Now it's Yvonne Sampson.
Yes. It's one less loudmouth on there.
Yeah, it's good.
Not that Eichen was very loud, but
Yeah, true. They did get they brought in what's his name? Ray Hadley. Yeah, I haven't watched it. I can't watch it.
The loss you make by getting rid of Ben Eichen is magnified.
Yeah. By
the addition of Bolts Hadley.
Yeah. I just can't do that to myself.
Oh, I wish they'd bolt his mouth shut. Look, I'm going to start with a bit of a funny one here.
Okay.
It says, when will you address accusations that you and convicted wife killer Boris Rostevsky are the same person?
What the hell does that mean? Who's that?
It's a bloke who looks an awful lot like Paul Kent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not making any imputations here, but if Paul Kent went and got himself a half-assed facial hair going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty pretty interesting comparison there. I don't know why this person has been looking at this stuff for.
You ever been told you look like someone?
Yeah, but it's not often is it good people as far as attractive people.
It's always bad. He's holy crap. He does look like Paul Kent.
Yeah,
Holy shit. That's crazy.
it is.
That's insane. That's really, really crazy. Wow.
Well, we've got the image for the for the episode on Instagram.
Yeah. That's a good one. We'll have to get that one to Nadine to put up. That's insane. Wow.
You'll love that. Yeah, it's I think once I got compared to Will Ferrell.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always made the comment that when in Anchorman, when Will Ferrell's got the beard on and he's lost his job and he's losing his mind, the big red bushy beard. That's me when I used to grow facial hair. That's what it used to look like. Just this unkempt red mess on your face.
When he's drinking the milk and he's going, milk was a bad idea. Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one.
I've been when I was younger, I had a chick say I look like Kurt Russell. I didn't see that. And then more recently, I was told I look like a guy on, I think it was called Chicago Fire or something. I don't know his name. I can't even tell you the actor's name, but I looked like him. And then more recently, somebody, because I grew my facial hair, had somebody say I look like Russell Crowe, which was a bit weird.
Okay. So where did you bury them?
Yeah, I said, Russell Crowe's an old fat man. What are you talking about? It's weird.
Oh, wow.
I think I was just giving off like I'd given up, and I've given up sort of vibe.
So being compared to Russell Crowe, that's enough to make you change your life choices.
Yeah, it is. That'll turn you vegan. All of a sudden, I was like, should I stop eating gluten?
Never. That's the best part of the food.
Yeah, I love the gluten part.
Okay, next one is when a player is taken out as a result of foul play and then misses a number of games, would the NRL ever consider providing cap relief to that team?
Ugh. No.
They can't manage the cap as it is. Don't go putting that sort of stuff in there.
I know. You know what's really weird in sport, and this has been coming in over the last 10 years, is that everyone just wants a leg up. So, like, if something slightly goes against their team, they're like, well, shouldn't we get some sort of compensation or something go our way because of that? It's like, no, it's sport. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes things go wrong. Fucking deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say no, but you've fleshed it out and made it even better.
Yeah.
The silver lining on losing Finucane is that it now enables the Storm to extend Brandon Smith long-term, guaranteeing him a starting position. How likely is that from eventuating, do you think?
Ooh,
I assume he's suggesting that they're going to put Smith at lock.
Yeah.
I suppose he could do it, but
I don't know. I think I feel like he's going to want his own place in a team.
Yeah, and I think he's said already too that he wants to be a hooker somewhere. He doesn't want to be playing everywhere else. He's happy to play wherever, but I think he genuinely wants to be a 9.
Yeah. On Finucane, it was kind of weird the way that he was all of a sudden being talked up like he was Norm Proven or something, you know. And then then he signed with the Sharks, and people started putting shit on the Sharks. I just think that it's always scary to sign a Storm player because they very rarely play better than they were at the Storm. And look, it's not like he's been setting the house on fire for the last year and a half.
Look, the thing you get with Finucane, and it's something he did have at the Bulldogs and before he went to the Storm, is defensively, there are a few players better than him. It's not just his technique either, but he keeps the players around him lock solid in the defensive line. You don't see too many tries go through Finucane or either side of him. And so I think that's something that they do need. The problem I see with it is The Sharks last year, for what reason I still don't know, I didn't know then, I still don't know, they signed Cameron McInnes from the Dragons.
Yeah.
And McInnes is a hooker who had started transitioning to lock.
Mm-hmm.
And then Blake Brayley came along, and he's come along in leaps and bounds these last 2 years. There's no chance you're dropping that kid from the starting lineup. He's a first-grade player.
Yeah.
So he's the hooker. So it looked like that they were going to put McInnes at lock. And then they've signed Finnegan, who's a far better lock than McInnes is. So what are you doing with McInnes now? He's not a lock, and they've already got a hooker better than him in the side. What? That's a West Tigers signing.
Yeah.
Not just the fact that it's McInnes, but the fact is they've bought a player they didn't need. They tried to think about how they could rejig his position so that they could justify signing him, and then they signed someone better than him anyway, and they're just left with this bloke who's a third wheel now.
Well, and I felt similarly to, because they've got Barbara Kennedy at the back there for the Sharks, and look, he's a really good fullback. I like him as a fullback. And then they signed the young bloke from down at the Storm, who's like their backup fullback. Can't remember his name now.
Nico Hines, yeah.
That's it, Nico Hines. And I kind of was thinking, like, I can understand grabbing talent. I can understand if you really need talent, just grab whoever it is and work it out later on down the track. But I also think there's something to be said for making sure you spend the salary cap in the areas you really need to spend it in.
Yeah, I think from what I gather, the signing of Hines was to have him as an actual ball running six, which is what Canberra had been trying to do and trying to evolve Jack Whiten into being. And Jack Whiten's basically a slightly better version of Josh Dugan when he was at his peak, let's be honest. Yeah, he's a strong running fullback who's transitioned to being a pretty decent strong running centre, but for some reason he got thrown into the sixth gig.
Yeah.
The problem you get with that is if your halfback isn't a genuine halfback who can control the game, Whiten can't.
No, not at all.
And so I dare say what we're getting with Hines is he's got a better passing game in my view than what Whiten has. Yeah. And so he's going to be able to handle the five-base role better, but he still needs to have a genuine seven to control the game and steer him around the field. And that's something that the Sharks, they're going to have basically a rookie do it. They're going to have Trindle basically doing that next year.
Yeah, it's got to be Trindle, doesn't it? It's a weird one. I just think that, the Sharks fans, they're all in on Fitzgibbon as the coach. And I get it. They're looking for something, but I don't know. The good thing is we'll find out. That's the best part about rugby league. They play games, so we'll find out.
Yeah.
Unless it's the World Cup. Anyway.
Yeah. Right, what's next on here? What is the pinnacle of rugby league? Is it the NRL? Is it State of Origin? Or is it the World Cup?
Depends what you think is the pinnacle is. Like if it's the financial pinnacle, even then, I mean, is it because you earn more money playing one State of Origin game? Or is it because you earn a longer term deal playing in the NRL? It's a really good question. What would you rather, if you had to win as a player one trophy, what one would you want to win and why?
I think the NRL Premiership, because it's the hardest of them all.
I'd find it hard to say anything other than the NRL Premiership. Man, winning a World Cup would be amazing, though.
Oh, it would be, absolutely. I think the State of Origin thing is, I don't know, I see, I've never really been, bought into the whole magic of Origin. I love watching it. I watch rugby league all the time if I can.
Yeah.
And there's been so many absolutely fantastic games of footy played in Origin. But if we're genuinely honest, it's 3 exhibition games every year.
Yeah.
There's nothing beyond Origin there. It's just these 3 exhibition games got in the middle of the year. And through very good PR, it's become an immensely brilliant addition to the rugby league calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. But the World Cup is the highest honour you can have, or just international football is the highest honour you can have. There's no doubt about it. But the way the World Cup is at the moment, let's be honest, there's only 2 or 3 teams that are ever going to be competing for the World Cup at this stage.
Do you reckon?
If you happen to be playing for Australia, you're going to be at least a 50% chance of winning the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Easy.
Do you reckon? Because obviously we both love our rugby league history.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel as though, and when we've read about it in the past, it kind of ticks over at international level. That's what moves the game forward. But that has changed. Do you think that? I mean, I feel as though when we had that year when Tonga beat Australia, that was seismic, because it was like that was the thing that happened that year.
Yeah.
Over everything else, in my opinion. And because of COVID, we've kind of only had club football since. I just hope we don't lose the momentum at international level just because of COVID. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think we will. I think what rugby league should do, especially in Australia, is see this as an opportunity to reset and rethink the way they look at international football, because for too long, since the Super League war ended, we've basically played World Cup games in New Zealand.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing that's got to change, because it's turned the international jumper for Australia. It's turned it into something a bit boring.
Mm-hmm.
Every 4 years you get to watch us play in the World Cup, and people go, "Oh, it's good. We get to play someone other than New Zealand," and then it's just playing New Zealand, 75, 80% of the time from there, and that's not even exaggerating.
No.
The amount of times we've played New Zealand since 97, 98, it's off the chart, especially when you compare it with other countries. We've barely played France, who we used to play all the time.
Yeah.
Even the Poms haven't been playing them anywhere near as much as we used to prior to the Super League war. And you got all the Pacific Islands, which are all doing brilliant and growing at a rapid rate, and we barely play them. And it's the thing that frustrates me a bit, is as much as I'll sit there and criticise, and rightfully criticise England for completely ignoring playing against France, Wales, Scotland and Ireland, and they're all on their doorstep. Australia's not that much better, because they don't play Tonga, Fiji, Samoa, Papua New Guinea anywhere near as much either. I mean, when was the last time we can recall watching Australia play PNG? It was a Four Nations thing.
Yeah, true. But we do have the PM's 13. Like, I feel as though
that's a cop out, though.
I know it is, right? But at the same time, I think that the way that Australian Rugby League has looked at it is that they've said, okay, we can place in, and this is going back probably about 20 years now when I think about it. We can play these other nations in our vicinity in the world, but we're going to flog them. What we're better off doing is let them all play each other and get their level up to a point where they do become really good opposition for us to play. And I feel like we got there. I feel like, Tonga beat us flat out. I think that was a good thing. But, because we stopped, we couldn't go on with it. And it's why I would love to see the World Cup played every 3 years, because you get rid of a lot of the problems of that, not playing other nations all the time. Because if it's every 3 years we're having a World Cup, and you could end up playing Jamaica, Italy and Ireland in your World Cup group. I just think it's a good thing that we have that mix of opposition, because unlike you, I mean, if they come out and they said, we're going to play New Zealand and then Great Britain again in a 3-team series, it would be the most boring thing they could ever do. I don't want to see us playing Great Britain again. I'm sick of it. I know how it ends.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Australia versus Great Britain, that's what tours are for. And tours are designed to be something you use to promote the game in areas that might be struggling or new market areas. Tours are promotional things. And I like the fact that they were sadly COVID ruined it, but they were looking at bringing them back in a more limited capacity, but try and get tours happening again. I think that was a great idea. It's got to be used purely as both to help International Rugby League, but also to promote it around the world as well. So we can't just go to England and play their Super League teams and play 3 tests against England and 1 or 2 games against France and then fuck off home like we used to.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good enough anymore. The game's established there. So we need to just play those to respect those nations, but then try and look about taking the game places new. Play a game in the USA or Canada or, somewhere in Europe other than Great Britain and France. Try some new things, add some new places on the horizon and try and get it into a regular thing. That's what would be brilliant. But I don't know. To me, it just feels like it's not going to happen.
No. The problem is that right now, right now at Sydney NRL club can't play in Sydney.
Yeah.
Like, how can we start talking about, I'd love to see. I know it's cool to talk about, but you don't know when it's going to be, when you could put it in place,
No, that's right.
Be like having a World Cup right now. It'd just be silly.
Yeah, I still don't think they should be playing a World Cup now.
We'll talk more about that later on.
With the ARL Commission withdrawing from the World Cup, wouldn't that also apply to a potential Indigenous Australian representative team, as the Commission would have to sanction participation in the tournament as the governing body? I'd say yes.
Yeah, I would agree, yeah. And that's something I've been thinking about too. Like, surely that's how it works. I don't think that, who runs the Indigenous Rugby League team? It's the NRL, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because at this stage, the only Indigenous team we've got that's recognised is that team that plays in the All-Stars game every now and then.
Yeah.
Which is, again, another exhibition side, but it's a team owned by the ARLC or the NRL, whoever it is.
And do you reckon that if they did take part in the World Cup, like just say there was an independent Indigenous and Maori rugby league teams put together for the World Cup, do you reckon they'd get the same share of money that Australia and New Zealand was going to get? And do you reckon that they would independently be able to spend that money as they saw fit?
No.
Yeah, I bet they would underchange them. They would find a way. I have zero faith in the International Rugby League administrators.
I think that's not just the international. I think that's also the ARLC. They want their fair slice of the pie.
Yeah, I reckon you're right.
Which is a shame, because I think if that was to go ahead, someone from the Indigenous teams for both countries, Australia and New Zealand, should come out and say, we will go ahead and we will represent our nations, our Indigenous nations, on the proviso that we get exactly the same money that the national teams would have got, and we get to spend that money within our Indigenous footballing communities as we see fit. If they made that clear and public, the ARLC would, and if the ARLC wanted them to go, that'd put them in a tough spot, and they'd have to agree to it. I mean, imagine being forced to say no to spending money in Indigenous communities. How much of an arsehole you'd look, especially given how much in these Indigenous communities provide so many great players to Australia and New Zealand rugby league teams, and have done for decades.
I believe there's a Indigenous rugby league competition, and I feel like it's based in northern New South Wales. I wish I could remember the name of it, but I'm pretty sure there is. But the way I look at it is, if they come out and they said whatever money Australia is going to get, where we'll use that. I feel as though it would be the World Cup organisers that would go like, oh, we weren't expecting them to want the exact same amount of money.
Yeah. Tell you what though, if they want them in there, it'd be hard for them to say no.
Do you reckon that do you reckon that Jamaica gets the same amount of money from playing at the World Cup as Australia does?
No, God, no. I think they get all the same amount of money from the the International Rugby League, but I
Mm.
think the individual sporting bodies
Oh
pay
yeah,
extra on top of it.
they pay their players, yeah, but like just
So I
from
dare say
the
that probably. Yeah, so actually, to rephrase it, so I think you're probably right. They'd all get paid the same, but they wouldn't be getting paid much.
not more so the what the governing body gets at the end of the day. Like I know there'll be prize money and stuff like that, but just in terms of participating in your group matches, I wonder if they all get the same amount or if it is skewed towards some nations or other nations. It'll be interesting to find out.
Yeah, I wonder if they layer it so that you get so much for a pool game, so much for a finals game, etc., and so much for playing in the final. So that way, it means that you know, let's be honest, it means that the Australians will be getting paid a lot more than everybody else purely because they're going further into the competition.
Yeah.
It might be some sort of weird arrangement that was made back in 1990 or some shit. I don't know.
Do you reckon that they've got? Do you reckon that they've got at the International Rugby League anything at all on paper that
No.
goes back? Okay, I was going to say that goes back further than like
They don't.
2010.
I can tell you right now, they didn't even have results on paper.
Yeah. I always used to say it was just a letterhead that the Rugby Football League gets sent out, and I know it's a bit different now. It's a little bit more than that.
It's probably got an embossed envelope as well.
Yeah. Remember when we looked up where the headquarters were for the International Rugby League in London, and there's no signage or anything. It's just
a door with a flag out the front.
Just a door, yeah.
You go inside and someone serves you tea, but you don't know actually. That's all there is. A lady with a tea trolley. Do you have one sugar or two?
The only thing it'd be good for is going in and getting your parking validated.
That's pretty much it. Hey, they might have a vending machine in there.
I bet that they do. I bet they've got a vending machine and a bunch of foldable tables.
Yeah, they had plenty of those around. You'd just be a room full of those foldable tables. Nothing on them, just tables everywhere, stacked up.
Look, that's more than they need.
It'll look like the outside of a ring at a WWE tables, letters, and chairs match. Just chairs and tables stacked up everywhere. Yeah. You go, I wonder why they're stacked up like that for.
If you listen to the Palms, Peter V'landys is waiting around the corner to smash English Rugby League through one.
You be fine, people. You're not in Melbourne. That's all he smashes is Melbourne.
All we do in Australia is worry about how we can kill off English Rugby League, hey?
Yeah. We tried by giving some of their best players an opportunity to get better.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's not killing it.
No. We left them to their own devices. I think that was the problem.
Yeah, that was it. We stopped going over there to help them get money.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's not gone down well with them.
No, it turned out badly. Turned out that English people can't run English Rugby League competitions, eh?
Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew? I mean, we probably should have learnt after they sold their souls with the whole Super League deals in '95 and how they completely just squandered that opportunity. Who knew that they'd keep doing that?
You know, my favourite deal.
Sign.
My favourite deal has to be the stickers on the side of trucks, right?
Nothing better.
But my second favourite deal is the one that they did where they said, okay, private equity company, you come in and see if you want to buy us. And by doing that, the private equity company had a look. They said no. And so Super League owed them money. How do you end up in that position? Maybe you and me should put together a private equity company. We say we're going to buy Super League, and then we say, "No, we're not interested. Thanks. You owe us £200,000 now."
Was that before or after the deal with the pizza? Because they were far apart, those two.
Nah, they were pretty close. I feel like it was just before.
It might have been, yeah. Did you see too, just going a little bit off topic here, that the RFL have got a vacancy for communications and PR officer?
Oh, I'd be good at that, hey?
£25,000 a year.
Really?
Mm. So I did say to them on Twitter where I saw it. Yeah. Okay, I'll do it. On the proviso that I only have to work part-time hours for that part-time wage. And as a sweetener, I'll run the RFL and Super League too. Here's my resume. I like pizza. I'll start on Monday.
Pizza would be good, hey?
Yeah.
As long as it's not tuna and corn.
Yeah, fucking tuna and corn shit on there. The old chunder pizza. You want that thing? Keep that.
Yeah.
Actually, that'll be my first thing I put on there is no more tuna and corn pizzas. I automatically have got all the players on side.
Yeah. Poor buggers.
Hey, Canty, should the NRL revise the no-fault stand-down policy in light of Manasseh Fainu's trial being delayed another year due to the Sydney lockdown?
I can't even remember what he did.
Was this a guy who allegedly stabbed someone at church?
Oh, it might have been, actually. Yeah, Manly player.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's a really good point. It's a really, really good point.
I'd say this. Manly's not missing him.
No, they're not.
Well, he's a good player, no doubt about it. But yeah, I'll be honest. I don't really have an issue. This is going to sound a bit wrong because I know you might disagree with me. I don't really have an issue with the no fault stand down thing because there's so many good players out there. I think it's good to know for players that if you do something really fucking stupid that could result in criminal charges, we will stand you down on the spot and you'll just get replaced and forgotten. So don't fuck up.
Yeah, but what if you haven't fucked up? You've just been accused of fucking up.
Meh. Stay at home and don't go outside. Like, even without COVID.
You sound like a premier all of a sudden.
No, Dictator Dan. Yeah. Not Gladys. Isn't she an angel and everyone loves her? I don't live in New South Wales, so I don't know.
All I know is she called in the army today. I don't know what the fucking army's supposed to do.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll shoot COVID.
There's nothing
in the face.
Yeah, there's nothing better than telling professional soldiers, "Oh, we want you to be a police force for us." Like that's the last thing they want to do.
Yeah. I can think of a few countries that didn't work out too well. Nearly all of them, when that's been put into place.
Oh man,
that's good. With all these players leaving clubs, what club are you going to be at next year?
What club are you going to be at?
Yeah, who are they asking there? Kenty's not at a club.
Unless they were, you know how some of these people want. Oh, what?
They're suggesting that he's going to go to a club because everyone else is leaving clubs. Is that what they're getting at?
Do you ever see people on Twitter that they tweet like they're talking to a person on TV?
Yeah, that's kind of one of them.
Yeah, that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah. I dare say Kenty will not be at any club.
No.
He's very non-committal in that area. He likes to just abuse everyone. And I respect him for that. Maybe. In a player's NRL contract, clubs are obligated to release them to play international football. With no Australia, could we see James Tedesco elect to play for Italy, Felice Kafusi for Tonga, etc.? You know what, I've got no issue with that happening.
Yeah.
Imagine if every NRL player decided they were going to line up for their secondary nation that they could represent. England would have no chance.
Well, they didn't beat Italy last time he played for them. So, the last thing I want to see is the World Cup full of Australians and Kiwis playing for other countries. So, I hate that shit.
I think it's silly too that you can get someone who's never been to a country all of a sudden representing them.
Yeah, it's silly. It's absolutely silly. And they come out and say, "Oh, I'm really proud to play for my heritage and stuff like that." And
yeah, I can understand there being a lineage and stuff like that, and that's they might be proud to represent that area, but there's got to be a line drawn somewhere.
Yeah, I know that my thoughts on it are different because they come from how I feel. Like I'm an Australian. I feel no other connection to any other place on planet Earth. I was born here. I was raised here, and I don't feel the need to, thump my chest over, when my parents or grandparents or anyone else was born. You are who you are. I walk my own path. All of a sudden, I'm getting very deep, hey?
I was going to say, are you trying to steer everyone away from the fact that you may be able to represent another nation?
No, I could only represent Australia, Andrew. That's it. It's no other nation I have any connection with whatsoever.
Not even via your parents?
Parents, please. That's their burden to carry.
We'll leave that one there. Yeah. Do we say suck shit or not? That's good. We'll leave it with that.
I just find it weird. I find it really weird. It's like St. Patrick's Day rolls around and everyone's part Irish. Shut up.
Half the white population in Australia would be.
I know, it's ridiculous. And I know there'll be people listening and it'll be like, oh, he's being ignorant. Yeah, I am. Go fuck yourself.
Well, you know what? We're Australians. I mean, we're supposed to be, we've been, casual racism flows through our veins from a very long lineage going a long way back.
It's not even racism though. No, it's like, I've never understood it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know, and I'm the first person to say I'm different. A lot of people feel differently, and that's fine. They can feel however they feel. I'm not dismissing how they feel. I just think it's no.
We'll move on. Having equaled their club record of 15 wins in a row, this time in the same season, can the Storm equal or surpass the record of 19 in a row set by the 1975 Roosters side? Ooh. Let's just have a quick look at the draw.
Yeah, their next game's against Penrith. They should really win that. Penrith have a lot of players out.
Yeah, it's a weakened Panther side, so I'll be backing the Storm to win that one.
Yeah, I tipped the Storm.
Then they play Manly.
Oh, they'll beat Manly. I can't believe people rate Manly so highly, hey?
Then they play Canberra.
Yeah, they'll beat Canberra. They're losers.
Then they play the Titans.
Well, the Titans will rack up a 30-point scoreline in them in the first 20 minutes and then lose by 60.
That's right. And then they've got Parramatta.
Yeah, Parramatta's done. Their season's over.
And then they end the regular season against the Sharks.
Oh, yeah, they'll beat the Sharks.
The thing is, though, they've got in recent times, a bit of a interesting record against the Titans. They've lost a few games against the Titans in recent times, and since 2016, they haven't been overwhelmingly dominant against the Sharks either, although they've won the majority of the games in the last 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
Haven't really been dominating them, though. But in saying that, I still think they'll beat both of those teams comfortably.
How absolutely insane would it be if they get to the grand final on a winning streak and they play the Panthers and the Panthers beat them? Wouldn't that just be the weirdest thing?
It reminds me of my my junior cricket days.
Yeah.
Where we went through the entire regular season, undefeated, won the semis, both of them, and then lost the final.
Oh, really?
And the second year, we went through and won every single regular season game again, won the semis, and then beat the team we lost to in the grand final the year before. We beat them in the grand final the second time around. So we went 2 whole years with one loss being a grand final.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's been nothing like that in rugby league that I can think of before, where one team's been, they had that winning streak, lost the grand final, and then it was sort of reversed the next year. It'd be really cool. I'd like that.
It'd be pretty interesting. It'd definitely make for a great grand final.
It would, yeah. I still can't see anyone being in the grand final except the Storm and Panthers.
It's. I think Manly have the potential to shock a team just with a good performance. but it's got to be kind of a fluky thing, and they've got to come up against the right team. I don't think that team that they will be able to shock will be Penrith or Melbourne, though.
No.
But I think they can beat every other team there on their day.
Yeah, like they might beat a Parramatta or someone like that.
Yeah, Parramatta, again, I just look at them and go, I know you're winning plenty of games. I'm just not convinced by their performances.
Yeah, I'm the same. I feel like Penrith broke Parramatta last year, and they sort of showed that they haven't got that extra gear to go to. Like I feel as though like where they're sitting on the ladder is exactly where they belong.
Well, the thing is, they're sitting in exactly the same competition points as let's be honest, completely destroyed Roosters roster.
Mm.
And they are sitting level with them.
Yeah.
I think it's a credit to the Roosters and what they've done this year as to how well they're going, considering the insane losses that they've had. And how dramatic those losses are. They're, players forced into retirement, 3 of them.
3 of them, yeah.
Insane. And then you got Kyrgios for nearly the entire year, your number one half. And then you've had a few players out through Origin and stuff like that, and they've still just been able to, bubble along. They're scoring points pretty well. The defense is not as good as it has been, obviously, but they're still winning games and scoring points pretty freely. It's pretty impressive.
I feel as though that it shows, like if you look at the teams kind of below them, below the Roosters, they're kind of all in a bit of a pack. Even the Manly Seagulls. Like, it's not like you look at the Seagulls and say, wow, they're a gun side. They're just a team that plays pretty well compared to everyone else in competition. Most teams are playing really poorly this year. And I feel as though the Roosters, it's a lot about consistency. And I know they've lost a lot of players. I'm not taking that away from them. But I think that it kind of shows what type of season we have this year, where the Roosters can be where they are, even though they've had that many injuries in their side.
Yeah, it does show the talent gap that's starting to exist too with the new rules.
Yeah.
You can see which rosters are being managed a little bit better, and it's basically managed by having star players in key positions. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and the Roosters pay players under the table. No, I can't say that.
It's over the table, but in very well-marked brown bags.
Yeah. I'm trying to offend everyone in this episode.
We're trying. We usually do in these ones.
Yeah.
Based on their new signings, where do you see the Dogs finishing next year?
I think they'll be a finals team, hey?
Really?
Yeah, for sure. You look at their forwards that they've got. I mean, they're going to get Tavita Pangai Jr., Paul Vaughan. They're 2 pretty good additions. They've already got Josh Jackson. They need a hooker. Their backline is going to be pretty good. I worry about their halves, but I think that they're going to have enough consistency that they'll be a bottom of the top 8 team.
All this that you just said is all white noise, because the only thing that matters is who the coach will be.
Well, that's the problem. Like, if he can't make them a top 8 team, he can't fucking coach.
Yeah, I think they'll probably be 12th next year.
Oh, really?
But only because we've seen before that if you make a ton of new signings, it does take probably a year for everything to gel and everything to start working before it starts to click properly. And then the following year, I wouldn't be surprised if the following year they may sneak into the 8.
See, I feel like if they finish 12th next year, it would be as disastrous as any of their last 2 seasons. I think it would be...
Oh, I don't think it'd be that bad. These last 2 seasons have been pretty fucking shit.
I know, but at least it was a shit team. Like, I think next year they're going to have enough talent to be a top 8 team. And if they finish 12th, I feel like Bulldogs fans are going to go into a meltdown.
Yeah, I don't know. As you've mentioned, their halves are not something that fills you with a great deal of hope.
Mm-hmm.
Their spine is pretty weak.
Yeah.
And that's something they haven't addressed at all. So with that in mind, I think they will struggle a bit. But I think they will win definitely several more games than what they have been. They'll go close to winning 10 games next year. And I think, considering they've won, 2 or 3 games across the last 2 years combined, I think having 10 wins, I don't think that they'll see that as being a failure. I think that's a good step in the right direction towards making the finals the year after, which is pretty much what they've got to be trying to do. Because we've seen before, if you try and make the finals in one leap from being dog shit for 2 or 3 years, it may work for one season and then you fall back.
Yeah.
So you need to sort of go up in gradual steps. I think what the Bulldogs have gone through under those Hasler years, and they can't go doing things hurriedly. They need to take their time.
How many current teams would you write off their chances of being finalists next year?
Tigers.
Yep.
I'd
say Cowboys.
I'm somewhat confident in saying Newcastle. I'm going to say this about Newcastle. I had no idea. I can't believe how poor their attack has been this year. They have the second worst attack in the comp, I believe.
Yeah, but they've been missing, and it's not so much Pearce. It's Ponga. When Ponga's in that side, they're a different sort of attacking outfit. And you take him out of it and they literally have nothing. It's really crazy.
Yeah, but that's something they need to fix.
Yeah, 100%.
Manly's the same. Their attack's dog shit without Tom Trbojevic there.
Yeah.
Anyways, have the Sharks done enough to be in premiership contention for next season? No.
No, not even close.
Look, they'll push for the 8 again, just as they have this year. That's kind of where they are at the moment. They're just an 8th team.
Yeah, I feel like there'll be a better version of what they are now, but not enough that, they might be a little tougher to beat, but that's it, really. I haven't seen anything revolutionary, unless Fitzgibbon comes in and he's the super coach everyone says. Yeah,
I still think even if that happens, they're probably still 1 or 2 good signings away. I mean, they're pretty close to sorting out their roster now. Some of the overpaid players and the older players, they're starting to push them out of the club. I hear Aaron Woods is on his way out, and I did see one media outlet, I think, suggesting that he could go back to the West Tigers.
Oh, can you imagine?
No, I can't.
We'll find out in November.
Yeah, they'll sign him. No one else will.
Did you see that the West Tigers were looking at Curtis Scott from the Canberra Raiders?
Can we stop signing troubled centres, please?
He was just, and then they went back to the Raiders and said, "Oh no, we don't think we'll do it at the moment." But he's the most West Tigery player signed at the West Tigery time that they could have got.
Wasn't that supposed to be I thought I saw it was going to be a player swap, 2 players for 2 players, and it was going to be Brooks and Mbai for Whiten and Scott.
I saw that a couple of days before, but I think it ended up just being Scott himself.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure too that was a Hood Ornament rumor that he made up, as he does.
Yeah.
Got any Hood Ornament rumors just to help him out, because he hasn't written an article for a few days. He's probably trying to think of one.
Well, if you go to NRLrumours.com, you can find all of the latest rumors. I don't make them up, by the way. I just put them on there when I see them. And if they pan out, they pan out. If they don't, they don't. It's just the rumors that are going around.
You should put a section on there of Hood Ornament rumors where you just make up whatever the hell you want.
Just you make shit up, yeah.
Yeah, like Nathan Cleary to Hull FC on a 17-year deal worth $3.7 million a year. Why the fuck not?
Remember when I think it was Salford was supposed to be going to spend millions of dollars to get Darren Lockyer? I think it was Darren Lockyer, and then it ended up they were going to get Shane Webke. And it's just all bullshit.
And did they end up getting like Rangy Chase or someone?
Someone like that.
We're going to spend this million somewhere. Damn it. It's burning a hole in my pocket.
Being Salford, it's like, we got to spend these millions somewhere. Oh, shit. We missed him. Let's spend it on someone else. Oh, shit. We don't actually have the money.
It's almost like they took the West Tigers playbook for signing players.
Hey, you're getting Jackson Hastings next year. He's a former Salford Red Devil champion player.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
We'll have two Poms in the team next year.
I know you're looking forward to the Jackson Hastings era.
Nope. Is Madge to blame for the recruitment misses or the CEO, Pascoe? While Pascoe has been in the chair, he's cost the club Teddy and Moses. Tedesco was always going to go.
Yeah.
He'd signed with Canberra and got lured back by Farah. Tedesco grew up being a Roosters supporter. He was always going to head off. I think his family are good mates with the Minicellos.
All right.
He was always going to leave. Moses, he always wanted to get out anyway. He thought he was better. Took Jason Taylor over Farah. No, what happened there was they signed Jason Taylor because he was the cheapest coach on offer. And then they gave Taylor a directive to get rid of Robbie Farah because he cost too much money. And then they just had this very public, very stupid spat, which ended in Taylor looking like the dickhead that he is, and Farah leaving the club for 15 minutes before Ivan Cleary came in and brought him back. Common sense prevailed. Cost the club a salary cap fine. Wasn't that funny?
That was funny. That was hilarious. That when he said, "I know it's completely above board," and the NRL had to say, "No, it is not."
No, it is not. It is happy for the club to play at 25 home grounds. Well, they've been doing that for a lot longer than Pascoe's been there, to be fair. But I wouldn't be blaming Madge for a great deal. I would dare say he's probably got some say in the recruitment going on at the moment. But Teddy and Moses are not Madge's because that all happened before he turned up.
Do you reckon that Maguire is at a point with the West Tigers, though, when the CEO comes in and he says, "Hey, I've got a player that I reckon I could get," and Maguire just says, "Just get everyone. Anyone you can get me, just bring them in at this point."
No, because I think what Maguire's trying to do is get a team that's accountable. So he's not really chasing. We've seen this already. He's not chasing big name superstars. He's chasing players who will work in a cohesive manner with a team unit. He's not trying to find game winners. He's trying to find team players. And he's trying to find out who the team players are within the current rabble that he's got. And he's finding he doesn't have a great deal of them.
Yeah.
James Tarmo is a good example. He bought him because he's always, since he's been at Penrith anyway, he was seen as a genuine team player. He wasn't there trying to chase big money or do, shit purely for himself. He was there for the team. That's the sort of signing that Maguire's looking for. And a lot of it is about trying to make sure the team starts being a defensive piece of piss.
Yeah.
You can't be a strong defensive unit if you're not cohesive.
No.
It's as simple as that. And your attack will work off the back of that. So he's trying to build a bunch of team players and put them into the team. That's pretty much the way I see it anyway.
Penrith lost a player last year to a TikTok video. The Tigers lost a player this year to a piece of tape. That's pretty interesting.
It is. In saying that, I think Madge may have been responsible for the signing of the old sliding door.
Yeah.
And
I never liked that signing, hey?
Yeah, I thought if there's a chance they can keep him focused on footy and play him purely and solely on the wing, it would work.
Mm-hmm.
And the one time they did that, I was proven right.
Mm-hmm.
But they only did it in one game. The other bad signing was Luciano's big brother.
Yeah, that was a shocker.
That's a dumb signing.
Yeah.
It made no sense when they did it. It makes worse sense now. They've shot themselves in the foot there. The fact they're thinking about, even contemplating chasing another troubled centre. Just don't.
Yeah, don't bring problems to your club.
Yeah,
I always think that's a pretty good point.
Just stop it. They've got to stop. They've really got to stop buying all of these players across. The one thing that Tim Sheens did really well that helped change the culture at the West Tigers when he got there was he stopped trying to buy in also rents from wherever else, from whatever the four corners of the globe. He just went, right, let's start with people who are in the local community who want to play for this club. That's the first step. And I think that's something that Maguire's starting to touch on now because he's brought through quite a few local juniors this year. I think that's the direction he has to go in, and Sheen's turning up will make sure that definitely happens again.
It's going to be interesting to see how long they persist with it.
Yeah. What's this one here? Is the clampdown officially over? More and more high tackles are going on report, and a bad one that would have been a send-off during Magic Round went to the bin.
Yeah, definitely. It was over about 3 weeks ago, I reckon. And
yeah, it didn't last that long.
You know, if you hit someone in the head pretty hard, you're going to go to the bin for 10, but you got to hit them pretty damn hard in the head. Like there was a Walker Blake in the Parramatta versus Roosters game that was on earlier tonight. He got hit in the head. He ended up with blood coming out of his nose, left the field, didn't come back. There wasn't 10 in the bin for that. It was just a penalty.
Yep. Another Volandi's brilliant idea, that one.
Yeah.
I don't get this stuff. Like, if you're going to do a clamp down on anything, fucking see it through.
I agree.
Otherwise, it's just pointless. And you're undermining anything you've done, the whole process.
All they did was ruin, 5 rounds of football?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they'd ruined plenty before it, but they just ruined 5 rounds even more so than they normally would have.
Yeah, mate, the games are just a mess.
Yeah, and for
Absolute
what?
mess.
What's your outcome? There isn't any.
Mm.
You did this stupid crackdown, which, I mean, the height of it was when, I think, was it Tyson Gamble got sent off for standing there and crouching down to make a tackle, and a bloke fell into his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he got sent off. You're like, come on.
Yeah.
I understand you want to crack down on high tackles and stuff, but you've got to crack down on high tackles that could have been avoided. When a bloke falls forward and collides with your shoulder and you're crouching down to tackle him low anyway, that's a pure accident, and the tackler is completely not at fault there. And that should never be a punishable offence. That's not an offence. That's just stupid, and that kept happening. And I'm glad in some sense that the crackdown has ended in that regard, because it was stupid to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Just how over the top it went. I understand. I'm not opposed to cracking down on high contact around the head, but high contact on the head had always been illegal. The stuff we were cracking down on was it was brazenly stupid stuff. Like a shoulder, an arm over the shoulder from behind. If it glanced the jaw, sin bin, come off it.
Yeah, it was silly. It got to a silly point. And once they get rid of this 6 again crap, and the game can almost get back to where it should be. There's a bunch of other rules they need to get rid of that they brought in. But the 6 again stuff is still killing teams and killing games.
Oh, yeah, it's a massive momentum builder, and it completely throws games.
Yeah.
If the Canberra Raiders end up making the 8, I don't think they will. Do you think they will still require some major rebuilding for 2022 and beyond, as has previously been suggested? Yes.
Yeah. I think they'll make the 8, but they just need the rebuild, and they've needed the rebuild for years. And the problem is they had that one really good season, and I think it glossed over some of the problems that they had. Yeah,
I think going forward for them, they've got a pretty decent forward pack. And the forward rotation off the bench is pretty handy. But behind that, the halves and the backs needs work.
Yeah.
The Dragons are 4 from 13 since buying Josh Maguire. They were 4 from 5 before buying him. Has the game passed him by? It's a bit harsh blaming Maguire for that.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
He's just a lock, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I think the problem there at the Dragons, and we started to see it a few weeks ago with the barbecue incident, is the players are not focused on playing footy. Their brain's not on the game. When
Look,
they put it on the game, we saw it when they played the Eels at the start of the year. When they focus on playing football, fuck me, they can play some good footy. But they haven't been tuned into playing good footy anywhere near enough.
I don't know. I just think it's a talent problem for them at the moment. Like, they went for so long being poorly coached. And I think that Hooker's done an all right job with them so far this year. But I feel as though, and the problem with that barbecue was that it really knocked them for six as a club. They've got so many players that are suspended. They lost one of their starting front rowers. I just think it's a talent thing. I mean, they're in a rebuilding mode anyway, so their results aren't going to be fantastic. And I think a player like Maguire was brought in to sort of be a stopgap measure while they do that rebuilding, to be honest. I mean, I thought getting him and McCulloch were weird signings, but at the same time, you know, they're not long-term commitments. They're older players. They're experienced players. Maybe they can teach younger players, you know, something. But, you know, it's not like they're the guys they're building the team around.
No, that's right. If PVL is the great administrator you say he is, how come he managed to save the NRL but couldn't do the same for the Rugby League World Cup?
That's not his job. Isn't that easy? I think people don't understand that Peter Volandi's job is just to run Australian Rugby League. And
so
if
did you say
people
run?
want him,
Did you say run or ruin?
well, you know. But that's his job. And if people expect him to save the World Cup, let him run the World Cup.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Exactly.
If Para failed to fire at the end of this year, what are the chances of the Godfather Wayne Bennett coming in next year to get them over the hump? They got the roster, just not the coach. Have they got the roster? Look, it's not a bad roster, but
you know what they need? They need a playmaker.
Yeah, I think the problem they've got, okay, and it does land on Mitch Moses a bit, and when he's in good form and confident, he runs a lot, and he's devastating when he runs the ball. Like, no one knows what he's doing, and he can do whatever the hell he wants in attack, and Parramatta are unbeatable. But that window, when he's like that, doesn't seem to stay open for very long. And when he goes back into his shell, he's sideways and kicks to corners. That's his entire game plan.
Yeah, and like, when was the last time you could honestly sit here and say Mitch Moses has been in really good form?
Start of last year.
Exactly. That's exactly what I would have said. Because at the end of last year, and look, he picked up a bit of an injury, and that stopped him last year. But he hasn't recaptured his form this year, and it's really hurt Parramatta. And look, he's out at the moment, so their loss. Well, I'm guessing that they lost against the Roosters. I didn't see the end of the game, but they were terrible.
28-0.
That's terrible. Like, you can't put it all on him, but I think that they do miss that somebody that's in the halves that's managing the team's attack. And I think that they're undercoached really badly. Like, I don't rate Brad Arthur as a coach at all.
No, I think he's doing a lot better than I thought he ever would right now. But I never saw him as a coach that would be coaching a premiership winning team.
No.
He's sometimes you just get those coaches who are they're like the midway between the rebuild and getting a good coaching to take that one step further. He's just one of those coaches, like a Brian Smith sort of thing.
Yeah. He's like a poor man's Brian Smith.
There you go. When I saw the Josh Alawai tackle, the first contact was with the thigh. Is a cannonball still below the kneecap? And if there was no injury, would he be suspended because there are worse cannonballs tackles this year? But since there was no injury, there was no charge. People are going to stop trying. I was going to say, people are going to stop trying to attach a severity of suspension with a player's injury. You've got to look at just the tackle itself. Whether the player gets injured or not should not be relevant.
I only saw that tackle once, and it was very fleeting. I think I saw it on a news replay or something. So just don't feel comfortable saying too much about it, to be honest.
I saw it. All I can say about it was, what makes it bad is it's not whether he's above or below the kneecap. It's the fact that the player basically stopped moving. He was standing in the tackle, and he came in late and very low.
Yeah.
Just completely unnecessary. The bloke has stopped moving. The ball was wrapped up. There's no need to make that tackle.
Yeah.
No need whatsoever. And that makes it a intentional act. And it's a tact that we don't know that he was intending to injure the bloke, but it was an intention to tackle him very low around the leg.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to charge it, as far as I'm concerned, and he should have got a week for it. That's all. It doesn't come down to how badly the player gets injured or not. It's just a dumb thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't need to make that tackle. It's just stupid. Why has the ARLC stopped the Gillaroos and Aussie wheelchair teams going to the Rugby League World Cup? Is this fair? Well, I dare say the ARLC covers women's football and the wheelchair team.
Yeah, they the governing body for all of them, and they made it. I mean, it would be really weird if they said the men's team can stay at home, but everyone else is fine to go. That would be strange.
Yeah, imagine the fact they cop for that.
Yeah.
Peter Blandy's got no issue sending women over to get COVID.
Yeah, this would be very, very strange.
Yeah. Could we have the World Cup played in Queensland? Could, but England wants it every second term, so they get it.
Yeah, it's very important to England. Just ask England. Yeah. It's nothing to do with English Rugby League, though. It's about the world. Just ask England.
Yeah, that's right. It's got nothing to do with them. It's good for everything. With up to 10 clubs struggling with player depth, could this potentially spell trouble for the game?
I think this is a problem that people don't realise, is that we're not playing New South Wales Cup at the moment and haven't been for many weeks, and basically had all of last year out the window as well. So the idea of player depth, teams are struggling with player depth because there's no depth to draw on at the moment. Like, there would only be a certain amount of players that NRL clubs would have taken up to Queensland. So, they've got the players they've got, and that's it.
Yeah. I think that what clubs are struggling with is the stupidly sped up game through the rule changes.
Yeah.
Which is probably, it's hard to prove, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a correlation between the rapid speeding up of the game and a number of these injuries.
Feels like it. It looks like it with the eyeball test,
Pub test?
The pub test, you're completely off your face and you're just hoping that you can make it home without spewing your guts all over somebody's car. So I don't know about the pub test. I've never been in that position.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I've seen many worse hits than the Yeo one. Sin being sufficiently adjudicated. If the bloke was a boxer, he would be known to have a glass jaw. It barely hit him, which is a lot more worrying for his future. I didn't see this one.
Well, look, he did get hit high. It was a whack on the jaw. He got whacked on the jaw. But he does get knocked out pretty easily. And, I am always worried about him, and Appy Coruscant's the same for the Panthers. He tends to cop a hit on the jaw and he's out pretty quickly too. It's something he's going to have to consider. It's not good. He's such a good player too in the middle. He's a really little bit of a unique player in rugby league in the way that he's got such good footwork. He's a very good defender. He's got a little bit of ball playing about him. He always seems to be in the right place at the right time in terms of his defence, and is always really well planted to defend. But he cops a head knock and it really knocks him out. So I don't know if he'll play again this year. I hope he does. But he would have to be considering his future for sure.
Yeah, I think I've seen him have too many head knocks to be comfortable asking him to come back again. I'd be just saying, mate, sit out a lot and contemplate whether you want to take another head knock or not.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of where he's at. He's had too many for my liking.
Yeah, it's horrible when you see it with, you see it with fighters too. I remember when Chuck Liddell, he'd stand there in the octagon and he would just throw with anybody. Didn't matter who he was against. And then when you first started to see him, he'd cop a little tap on the chin and he would turn off. And it was like, wow, it's really weird to see.
Yeah, it is. Here's a good one. Will Maguire coach the West Tigers next year? And if not him or Buzz's boy Flano, who would be a good choice?
Who would you say if Maguire wasn't there? And it's not going to be Flano because,
I hope not.
Oh, man, that would be a West Tigers move. But who else could you think of that would be a good coach for them?
It's going to have to be a carbon copy of Madge. Someone harder. I know I've spoken about Tubby an awful lot. He's the only person that comes to mind who I'd be comfortable having there, because I think if that documentary that we've seen so far, and we've only seen the first episode, has shown anything, it's that Maguire's been friendly, he's been angry, he's been aggressive, he's done every single different type of emotional trick to try and spark these guys, and none of it works, which tells me the players he's listening to are either tone deaf, stupid, or soft.
Yeah.
And it's one of those three. And so you can't have a soft coach come in. You need someone who's going to get aggressive with them and get in their face.
I would want to hear lots of reports of the players don't like him.
Yeah. I just want to see the players actually respond.
Yeah.
I want to see, I think the one thing I want to see from Maguire is to go, you know what? From now on, I'm going to behave exactly the same way every single time, because I think he's probably starting to send mixed messages with the way he's trying to communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys don't communicate well as it is, so they're all a bit confused now. 1 minute he's creaky, 1 minute he's Sam. It's like being married. Some shit. So
what did you just say? I feel like that's an air point.
So, I think he needs to just go out and say, right, I'm going to be just a hard ass on these bastards, and I'm just going to do it every fucking day for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And if the ones who don't respond to it, out the fucking door.
Yeah. And it seems like when you watch that first episode, he kind of was trying to find out who on the field was doing the talking and things like that. I just hope he is given the time to do his job.
Yeah. He's heading in the right direction. It was always going to take a while. Like, you can't. People have got this. I know I said it in the last episode. People have got this impression that you can rebuild a club and make them a finals contender in 2 or 3 years still. It just doesn't work like that anymore.
No.
There's so much more involved in it. And it's going to take probably 6 or 7 years to do a proper rebuild that will actually give you more than 1 or 2 premiership window years.
Yeah.
And you look at what Penrith have done. They've built their team. It took them several years to do it, but they've built their team and they've built all the structures in place so that they're going to be in a premiership window for several seasons.
Yeah.
It takes a while to do that. You think of the last time you saw Penrith at their best and how long it took them to get to where they are now, how many years it took. That's the rebuild process.
Yeah.
It didn't take 2 or 3 years. It took a long time. But once you've got it set in place, the results are there to see this year. That's what a lot of fans have got to realise. That's how it is now. Your rebuilds will take 6 or 7 years minimum. So if you're about to embark on a rebuild, you don't sign a coach for 2 seasons, because you'll never get the rebuild done. You'll just get rid of that coach and bring in another one, and the whole process has to start over again, which is exactly what the Tigers have been doing since Sheen's left. Time to start the rebuild. Oh, coach, we don't like this bloke. Oh, get another one. It's time to start the rebuild. We don't like this. Get another one. Okay, well, time to restart the rebuild. And it just goes on and on and on.
And that's why it's so important to get the right person to be a coach. Because, and I look at somebody like the New Zealand Warriors, who they brought in Nathan Brown to be the coach, and then immediately felt like they needed Phil Gould to come in and do some sort of role. And it's like, well, if Nathan Brown couldn't have done this role as the head coach, you've signed the wrong coach.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It worries me that there were no junior pathways or no good junior pathway systems set up in one country. That's a problem.
Yeah. Look, I think the thing that really, really hurt the Warriors more than anyone was when they killed off the under-20s comp. Because there was so many good players that come into that under-20 side for the Warriors, and they're always one of the better teams. And it was just such a great stepping stone for our young stars of the game. Getting rid of that competition was an absolutely terrible idea.
Yeah. It hurt them more than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've got a few interesting ones here. When will your Ashley and Martin turning point be?
Man, I got a question for you, right?
Yeah.
Scott Morrison's hair.
Yeah.
At one point, it started to thin out a lot, but now it's sort of coming back a little bit, LeBron James style. Do you reckon he's just growing what he has, or do you think there's a little something going on there?
He might be using some of that. I remember this product from might have been the 80s or the 90s. Hair in a can.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I reckon he's probably using a little bit of that. Yeah. He's not, but he's being smart about it. He's not going stupid and going, oh yeah, I'm bald. Let's just put an afro on me.
Mm-hmm.
He's going, let's just touch it up a little bit every day. Paint it over so it's got the same color.
Yeah, a little bit of volume. Not much. Yeah.
You don't want to go over the top. And just every day, just a little bit more.
How do you
think stupid?
How do you think people would respond if tomorrow he comes out and he's just got a shaved head?
Do
you reckon people would freak out? They'd be like, "What the fuck's going on? Did something happen?"
I think it'd give people something to laugh at him about, because at the moment he's just copping shit.
Yeah, true. What if he'd shaved his head and just started growing a moustache?
I think what he needs to do is get one of those Kevin Rudd beards happening. Have you seen the Kevin Rudd beard?
Yeah, makes him look like he's trying to be Colonel Sanders.
I don't know what he's doing. It looks so weird on so many levels. Mm-hmm. But I think it's high time we had an Australian Prime Minister that had the courage and wherewithal to grow facial hair.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. I thought it was going to be Julia Gillard, but no.
Didn't happen, sadly.
No.
Please remove that awful music from Ask Kenty. I don't know what that awful music is.
I don't know the music. I don't watch it.
Is your middle name Empathy?
It's a good one. I like that one.
If player welfare underpins the head high focus, why doesn't the cannonball tackle get a sin bin? That tackle could end a player's career. Well, the thing is, there's rules against cannonball tackles anyway, just like there were rules against the head high tackle.
Yeah.
So this is the problem: is as soon as someone gets injured from an illegal tackle, you got people now will come out and say, "Why don't we crack down on this?" And go, we cracked down on the head high tackles, and it was stupid. Do we really want to keep cracking down on things? Like, if we have all these crackdowns, all you're going to do is have a whole heap of stupid rules and a whole heap of stupid penalties and a whole heap of stupid score lines.
Yeah. It's funny. Remember when they brought in the crackdown during Magic Round? And there's never measured responses in rugby league, which is the best part about rugby league.
Oh, yeah.
And people are like, oh, do people want to go back to the 1970s when you could just, poleaxe someone? And it's like, no, go and watch them games. Yeah, when someone got coat hanging, it was still a penalty.
There's only two ways you can have rugby league, and that is either Mortal Kombat fatalities or touch football. There's no middle ground.
There's no in between. Yeah.
Sorry I'm a bit late, mate. Just seeking an update as to whether you've converted to veganism yet during this lockdown.
Ah.
I don't think Kenty can do vegan.
No. I was going to say something and then I censored myself.
I figured you had.
Mm.
Why can't players access the balcony? Even in lockdown in Sydney, we can go outside into the yard or on the balcony. Do you go out onto your balcony?
Hey?
Do you go out onto your balcony?
Yeah, but I think that from Friday in Sydney, if you go out even to your letterbox, you're supposed to wear a mask, hey?
Okay, so COVID's in the air, kind of like the nuclear fallout at Chernobyl.
Pretty much, yeah. I was actually thinking today, what would happen if you sewed the working part of a mask, like the filter part of a mask, into a ski mask and then just started getting around in like a balaclava, walking into banks in a balaclava and things like that. I wonder how well received that would be.
Yeah. I dare say there's only one way to find out. Yourself a GoPro. We'll put that on YouTube. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. I shan't be doing that. I remember last year when they had the mask thing and I actually did go into a bank and it felt really weird because they've always got them signs up saying you can't cover your face in a bank. And now it's like, well, you've got to cover your face to go places, and walking into a bank with a mask on is just kind of strange. Wow, that's some really fascinating stuff, League Freak. Had to cut off the podcast there because Andrew's little one woke up and was playing with matches or something. I don't really know what was going on, but no, he just woke up for his feed. So we had to stop the podcast there. We just about got to the end of the Ask Kenty stuff anyway, so it was pretty good timing as it turned out. So if you've enjoyed the podcast, please tell your friends about it. Tell them to subscribe, grab their phones off them, and send us a really cool review from their podcast app that they use. Also, remember to check out both of our Patreon pages. Andrew's one is patreon.com/RL Project. Mine is patreon.com/League Freak with no space. Also, remember to check out rugbyleagueproject.org, the best stats site there is out there for rugby league, worldwide, by the way. Check out leaguefreak.com for all your latest rugby league news and opinions. The Rugby League Podcasting Network, which has gone really well. All of the best independent rugby league podcasts are on there. And don't forget to check out NRL Breaking News and NRL Rumours. Yeah, that's about 1/3 of the website addresses that I own right there. Anyway, thank you all for listening. We'll do another podcast probably on Sunday, I would suggest, where we'll probably be talking a little bit more about the World Cup. We'll see what's been going on in the NRL over the weekend. And until then, we will catch you later.